I am still thinking about the concept of healing, and as I think I mentioned in one of my other videos, my starting off point is from a passage in The Urban Shaman. It's a book by Serge Kahili King, but he defines a shaman as a healer of relationships between mind and body, between people and circumstances, between humans and nature, and between matter and spirit. So roughly 3 years ago, I decided to train as a massage therapist. And I think that's because I was feeling called to be a healer. I've also been thinking about the word therapist because I read an article about massage therapy that made a distinction between what massage is and what it means to add therapist onto the end. I'll link that in the description. So, I've been practicing massage therapy for 3 years, and within those 3 years I've done my best to continue to push my knowledge of what massage and massage therapy is, all the while healing myself. I think that King talks about some correlation between being a healer and healing oneself at the same time. So, I've also been thinking about a master's program in clinical psychology. I'm wondering if that's the next direction that my healing journey will take. I'm curious. And I've been thinking that a master's degree takes 3 years, roughly. I spent 3 years being a massage therapist. I also spent 3 years exploring the role of what it means to be a healer. So I want to give myself a master's degree in healing. Brian Johnson gave himself a PhD or a master's in optimizing. Well, he's the one who turned me on to this idea of defining the job that you're creating, or something like that, or defining the role that you're creating. I saw at a school in Philadelphia, they have a PhD in creativity. And I watched a video on YouTube that helped me decide if I want to pursue a PhD or not. I'll link that channel in the description. The guy who does the video, can't remember his name, he talked about the purpose of a PhD is to advance human knowledge in a certain direction. And I think he called it a social contract, because PhDs are usually paid for by the public or the university or whatever. So you're paid to advance human knowledge in a certain direction is what I took from his video. And whatever I decide to do, I believe that my calling is to advance the current knowledge on healing, in particular spiritual, maybe moral, ethical, behavioral, something like that. For a while I had been thinking to myself that, or theorizing, hypothesizing, intuiting, feeling that technology, like the technology of this phone, and digital technology in particular, has advanced so rapidly, and it's been so fast that the human psyche hasn't had the individual and the collective human psyche hasn't had an opportunity to catch up. And some of the things Jordan Peterson says echoed that. So I feel like, okay, if Jordan Peterson kind of senses that, then maybe I'm on the right track. And that's why I'm mentioning it here. I think that in the West, in developed nations, we're climbing higher up Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And sometimes we forget the bottom level or the bottom few, or maybe we forget how they connect to the higher ones. So that's why I want to study psychology. One of the reasons, because I think some of the I kind of call them lost psychologists. Abraham Maslow, Scott Peck, Eric Fromm, Carl Jung. These are men who advanced human knowledge in a spiritual and psychological sense that it's very profound. And it also relates to one of the Unitarian Universalist principles about Unitarian Universalists draw as one of their sources the prophetic words and deeds of men and women. I don't know if it qualifies what it says about men and women. I'm going to see if I can pull it up real fast. I think I'll have it right there in my Google Docs. But that's kind of what I want to do, is explore healing and Unitarian Universalism and this source, which I'll also put the Unitarian principles and sources in the description. So there's the source about the prophetic words and deeds of something men and women, and that got me thinking about who my sort of heroes are, people I admire, people who are doing work to heal in a very broad sense, the broad sense that King lays down in the Urban Shaman about healing relationships. And you can find relationships between lots of different things if you know how to look at them. And then the challenge is learning enough about the relationship to get a perspective on what healing or balance or harmony would be within that relationship, and then being able to take the necessary steps to move towards that. So, social justice, here they are. So, the 6 sources. The one that I have in mind, the words and deeds of prophetic women and men, which challenge us to confront powers and structures of evil with justice, compassion, and the transforming power of love. So I'm hearkening back to Abraham Maslow and Eric Fromm, who I mentioned Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'll put that in the description, and I'll try to find a good quality video describing what it is, because I can't assume that everyone who's popping this on is or listening is aware of who Abraham Maslow even was or what the hierarchy of needs is. It's a really helpful psychological tool to understand yourself and prioritize your needs and unlock energy. So, got 30 seconds left. I'm making art a little bit. I've been driving for Lyft. Whole Foods hasn't hired me yet. And I visited Drexel today. Just walked around the campus, and the the first building that I felt just called to go into just so happened to be the psychology department. So And then I saw a friend from Mount Airy on Drexel's campus. He's a professor there. But anyway, that's all I will say for now.